There was so much disillusionment. Just we thought, "Okay, God, is this something you have for us? Or have you forgotten us? Are we not meant to be parents? Are you even hearing our prayers? Are you even there?" Do you find yourself wondering if this is all marriage has to offer? Are you so busy and exhausted at the end of the day that your marriage is the last thing you have energy to think about?
If you're wondering if God has more for your marriage, you've come to the right place. Welcome to the Living Marriages podcast. My name is Aaron, pastor and marriage coach.
And I'm April, spiritual director and marriage coach. Join us as we explore simple habits for building intimacy with your spouse while learning what it means to center your marriage on Christ.
Welcome to the Living Marriages podcast, and thank you for tuning in. If you do enjoy this podcast, we would ask a big favor of you. Please hit the like or subscribe button, leave us a review on the platform of your choice, and head on over to our website, livingmarriages.com, where you can find out more about how you can support this nonprofit ministry. Well, today's episode is a bit of a departure from our other episodes as well, in that we're not going to be sharing tips or habits for your marriage, but rather just sharing a very important story in our marriage, one in which we really learned a lot and saw God show up in different ways, but also dealt with times of despair and struggle as well. And that is our journey with infertility.
Mm-hmm. And even as we turned on the mics just now to record this, sometimes I get nervous about recording episodes, but not as often anymore. But I feel nervous, and I think it's partly because it was such a hard time in our marriage, and I think there's still some trauma around that, and so I didn't expect to get emotional. But I just want to reach out to those that are in that boat right now. I feel the pain of it, even though we're not in that boat anymore. And so, just know that I actually think of you often, those of you that want families, and for whatever reason, it isn't time yet, or that's not what God has for you. I'm praying for you that you would experience God's blessing. And we're going to talk a little bit about our experience with the word blessing as we were going through infertility. And I'm going to hand it over to Aaron.
Yeah. Well, we certainly didn't expect to find ourselves on the infertility journey, as anybody who is on that journey now would say. No, of course not. This is not what we planned. This is not what we were expecting. We did get advice early on in our marriage saying, hey, just hold off on having a family. You want to get to know each other in your marriage first. At the time, we were planting a church as well, so it was like we had a church baby already on the go. And so we thought, okay, that's good advice. We'll hold off, and we did. And then we thought, okay, now it's time. We've been married a couple of years. We had adopted a couple of cats, and we thought we can do this. We're being okay, fur baby parents, church parents. And then we thought, well, it's time to go. Let's have a family. And we just thought you would, to borrow some hockey terminology, we'll just pull the goalie and it would be an empty net to score on.
It shouldn't take long.
Shouldn't take long. And not taking long turned into a 3.5-year struggle and journey in our marriage.
Yeah, and it's the journey of infertility is a monthly journey where there's disappointment that you experience every month when you hope and you pray and then are disappointed again. And that happened to us again and again. And there was so much bitterness. There was so much disillusionment. Just we thought, "Okay, God, is this something you have for us? Or have you forgotten us? Are we not meant to be parents? Are you even hearing our prayers? Are you even there?" And it was really difficult to remember that he had a plan, because that's not what I wanted to hear at all. And I remember thinking, okay, if I need to learn something through this, if that's the purpose of this time, can I just learn it already and be done with? I don't want to be here anymore.
Yeah. And it was, as April said, difficult because there was the monthly reminder of that we couldn't have the kids that we so desperately desired. And to be honest, we were experiencing things at a church level too. Our church family was wonderful, very supportive, very understanding, gave us space to grieve, gave us space to wonder and question. But there also is an element of church culture, and I wasn't saying this is our particular congregation, but we'd visit other churches and have friends, Christian friends, well-meaning, who would just say some of the most thoughtless things. Because honestly, and sometimes they didn't know better, but sometimes I think we, in the Western world, I'll say in North America, church culture, there's this expectation on single people. If you're still single and you're in your 30s, or heaven forbid your 40s, and you're not married, well, what's wrong with you? Why aren't you there's, whether it's said or unsaid, there's that expectation and pressure. And that we felt the same thing with kids. Well, you guys have been married now 3-4 years. Where's the kids? Where's the baby? I want to hold it, Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And for us, we realized at first, it was very hurtful. And then we thought, okay, we need to do our part to bring truth into this situation, and to be honest in as caring a way as we can while hurting, and say, hey, actually, we've been trying for 2.5 years. And it's been really rough. And yes, we do want kids, but that hasn't been God's plan for us yet. And people were usually taken aback, but I think it was so, and it still is so important for people to be educated about the fact that it doesn't come easy for everybody.
No.
And so we were able to deliver some truth to those loving and caring people in our lives during that difficult time that we were going through.
And one of the things that we kept hearing, and I think this is just a Western, I'm going to speak to our context in the Western church in Canada, middle class. One of the things we kept hearing over and over is how the word blessing was used. And people would often say, oh, I'm so blessed to have my family. I'm so blessed to have the children that I have. I'm so blessed to fill in the blank. And it got us thinking, well, if we don't have the kids that we're desiring, if we feel like we're missing something here or struggling through this journey like infertility, does it mean that we are not blessed? And that was a real lesson through this time. And it was a real journey to start to uncover, oh God, what does it actually mean to be blessed? And I turned to scripture, and I know we talked about it a lot. And the place we ended up at was the Beatitudes, the Sermon on the Mount, when Jesus said, blessed are the poor in spirit. Blessed are those who hunger. Blessed are those who mourn. And that started to change our understanding of what blessing was, because all of a sudden, blessing was not contingent on what we have or do not have. It was so much bigger than that.
It became about God's presence with us in whatever we were going through, that we were blessed to be walking together with him, even though it felt like he was far away sometimes.
Yeah.
And through this whole time too, we were seeking answers, right? We were praying. We were looking and reading in our Bibles. And we are going to share the rest of our story with infertility and God's gift to us of our 2 boys in our next episode, episode 42. But I'm just going to leave you with something that God did give me during the last couple of years of our infertility journey. And that was the number 1111. So I would see the time 1111 all the time. And so many times I looked in my Bible trying to find any combination I could think of 1111 that might speak to what my heart was going through. And nothing ever came up until one night it did. And so we invite you to tune into episode 42 to hear the rest of that story.
And it's a really amazing story. I also want to encourage you to tune into episode 41, which will be our Thursday thought around this, as we spend some more time in reflection about what it means to be blessed and what Jesus might have been talking about in the Sermon on the Mount, where he does say, "Blessed are the poor in spirit. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness. Blessed are those who mourn." What does it mean, Jesus, to be blessed in the middle of our pain, in the middle of this disappointment, confusion, and hurt? And we're going to hear the good news of the inbreaking of God's kingdom, his kingdom reality, in the most unexpected places and in the most unexpected of ways. So I want to encourage you to, even now, plan ahead. Tune into episode 41, especially if this is your journey. And for those of you who infertility is still a reality that you are in the middle of, maybe you're feeling like you're just swimming upstream and feel like you're about to be carried away by the current, and just don't have much left. We hear you, we see you, we love you, we want to be in prayer for you. So please do feel free. That's the nature of podcasting, is we don't necessarily know your story, but we would love to hear your story. If that's where you're at and you just want someone to pray with, or you just want someone to share your story with, we would invite you to reach out to us, email us so we can reach out to you. info@livingmarriages.com is the easiest way to do that, or head over to our website, livingmarriages.com. Click on the contact button and you can do that there. God bless.
Thank you for the privilege of journeying with you today as we seek God's best for our marriages.
Before you go, if you've been blessed, challenged, or inspired by what you've heard today, please bless us by hitting the follow button, leaving us a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and sharing this podcast with family and friends.
You can also support this nonprofit podcast by making a charitable donation at our website, livingmarriages.com.
Until next time, praying the life, intimacy, and connection of God's love over you and your marriage.